Welcome to Brownstone Worldwide. Welcome to Brownstone Worldwide. Tips, topics, and talk, we got it all. Brownstone Boozy and Breakfast with Fernell. Here to entertain, and we will help you live well. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you are welcome in the essence. This broadcast, Brownstone, the light is contagious. But you need go on and receive it for yourself. Just open it, exuberant, evolution, excited. We standing on the foundation of expression. You might have seen, you might have been, or you could have gravitated. Our foundation, we want to create a space for all to collaborate and be liberated from eventually all over the globe. And we are extending a hand to those who are an extension from maybe platforms, dig into another stratosphere. Welcome to Brownstone Worldwide. Welcome to Brownstone Worldwide. Tips, topics, and talk, we got it all. Brownstone Boozy and Breakfast with Fernell. Here to entertain, and we will help you live well. And that is MSG, the message in the message. I can OD on my execution of excellency. And this as a man right now, and things aren't created, but see true.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Day Shift. I'm Paulette, owner and founder of Brownstone Worldwide. Y'all, I got the moo-moo on today. Don't ask me why, because it's comfortable. How about that? Let's go ahead and get started. We're going to get into this news and information. If you are not a part of Brownstone Worldwide, you should be. Welcome to the neighborhood. If you are not new here, welcome, neighbors. We're going to go ahead and get started on a couple of things that are happening in the news. So first things first, we don't want to jump right into it, but let's talk about it. Let's talk about a couple of things. Union Pacific and Norfolk in an $85 billion deal. Union Pacific has actually agreed to buy smaller operator Norfolk Southern in an $85 billion deal, and the companies actually have announced that today. Now, while the merger, which would create the biggest operator nationally, it still needs regulatory approval and could result in the first coast-to-coast rail network in the United States. Now, by handling much of the nation's freight traffic, the network would likely lessen delays at interchanges. However, citing potential job losses, poor service, and increased pricing structure and power, shippers and labor unions are against the merger. Now, I know some folks that actually work for Norfolk Southern, and I'm sure that they are not happy about this. Plane deliveries boost Boeing. Boeing on Tuesday reported its best quarterly financial performance, thank you for that, Cutter, since 2023, as the plane maker actually delivered 150 aircraft in its second quarter, the most since 2018, actually. And Boeing has returned to manufacturing 38 of its 737 MAX jets a month, the maximum allowed by the FAA per annum, after federal regulators last year restricted production, citing the door plug blowout aboard an Alaska Airlines flight. Now, however, a union representing 3,200 factory workers in Boeing's defense unit voted Sunday to reject a new contract, raising concerns about a potential strike. Very interesting. Job openings, hiring fell in June as well. And let's get into the first topic of the day, which is, of course, the shooting that happened in Manhattan. Now, I don't know if any of you all have heard about it, but it was one of the top topics today on Brownstone Worldwide. It was actually one of the ones I ran reports this morning, and it showed that it was one of the top topics that was talked about or searched on brownstoneworldwide.com. So let's head over there and let's look at basically what the topic is all about, if I can find it, Lord, because the news moves so fast over there sometimes. All right, so let's get into it. Manhattan shooting suspect claimed to have mentioned NFL in a note, according to sources. Here's the thing: the guy is gone. The tragic mass shooting that occurred in a Midtown Manhattan office yesterday has left the nation in shock. The 27-year-old suspect, Shane Tamura, allegedly killed 4 people and wounded a fifth before taking his own life. Now, police sources revealed that Tamura himself carried a note in his pocket claiming he suffered from chronic traumatic encephalopathy and requested that his brain be studied. This note also made references to the NFL, with Mayor Eric Adams stating that Tamura appeared to blame the NFL for his injury. Now, CTE is a brain disease associated with repeated head trauma, commonly found in athletes such as football players, hockey players, and boxers. Now, it can only be definitively diagnosed through an actual autopsy, where specialists look for special changes in your brain, including protein abnormalities. Symptoms of CTE typically manifest years, y'all, after the initial head trauma. And Tamura, who had documented a mental health history, had previously undergone 2 mental health crisis holds in Nevada. And the most recent one was actually last year in 2024. Now, these holds allow individuals to be detained for up to 72 hours if they are deemed to be a threat to themselves or others. So the shooting took place, we know, in Manhattan, where NFL's headquarters are located, and he mistakenly entered Rudin Management on the building's 33rd floor, where he carried out additional firings of the firearm that he had. The 5th victim, who was critically injured in the attack, underwent surgery, is now in stable condition. Now, here's what we do know. Also, the one person that was taken out, which is really interesting, was the Blackstone executive, Wesley LePatner, which is unfortunate. So let's see. Not only Wesley LePatner, but several other people as well. I don't see any other names here being named. That's what I'm currently looking for. But a lot of people are saying, if you go online and you're doing the research before you start talking about it, you find that a lot of people are like, oh, well, that's really interesting, because Blackstone literally is doing some wild stuff out here. So basically who he ended up shooting was the head of Blackstone Realty. So dealing with real estate. This is one of the companies that is actually buying up a lot of new homes and having them built, and actually not even selling them. They're renting these particular facilities, right? So I thought, wow, that's really interesting that he ended up impacting someone from another another business. But I don't have much to say about that, except I'm just here to present the news. I don't want no smoke, like that young man used to say. So we definitely wanted to cover that with you all and talk about, hang on just a second, talk about some other things that are in the news that's happening right now. Let's see. Trump says baseline tariff rates for most countries will be in the 15 to 20% range. Now, let's talk about that briefly, because you need to know this. Number one, what we always like to talk about here in the Brownstone is we always like to talk about how this actually really does impact you, so you are aware. The countries that are shipping these goods to the U.S. do not pay the tariff, folks. Let's just kind of put that on the line and let's talk about it just a little bit. We want you all to know that the folks that actually do pay the tariffs are the customers, because the prices are raised. Those prices get raised, folks. And when those prices get raised, they impose that directly to the customer. And unfortunately, a lot of people didn't do their due diligence and do their homework before the election, and they voted against their own best interest, because as it stands right now. Yep, you do. Or the company eats the price. Now, there are some companies that says that they're going to eat the price, but eventually it's going to trickle down to the actual customer. And we're already starting to see that, even with some of the parts and things like that that are coming from overseas, and actually from Canada. There are parts for vehicles and machinery, like your washing machines, your dryers, that literally, or other appliances like my Frigidaire that gives lovely ice. It is literally going to be harder to get those particular parts, even for some vehicles and for other household appliances and so forth, because those parts aren't made here and they have to be ordered and have on standby. So a lot of times we're going to miss out on those opportunities to get certain things. So let's talk about it briefly. President Trump has adjusted his stance on tariff rates for countries that do not reach individual trade deals with the U.S. In a recent statement, he mentioned that the tariff rate will likely fall within the 15 to 20% range, a shift from the wider 15 to 50% range he had previously suggested. This announcement came during his visit to Scotland, actually, where he met with UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, who engaged in discussion with European leaders. Now, the US and the UK have already solidified a trade agreement, and a recent announcement revealed a trade deal between the US and the European Union following discussions between Trump and Commission President Ursula von der Leyen. I can't say the woman's name. It's just all these letters just jumbled up in my face. However, with August 1st, right around the corner, literally within 2 days, literally a day and a half for other countries to establish trade deals with the U.S., President Trump has indicated that most countries will face a flat tariff rate if individual agreements are not reached. Now, while the president initially hinted at a broader tariff charge of 15 to 50%, he's narrowed that to 15 to 20. Okay. Now, as the deadline actually begins to approach and trade negotiations continue, the specifics of the tariff rates and their implications for international trade will become clearer. In the meantime, watch your purse. That's what I say. Watch your coin purse. That's what I say. Let's talk about this one. This one just popped. PayPal says it's going to allow businesses to accept payments in over 100 cryptocurrencies. I'm going to go ahead and stir my fluids because we talked about this. Remember, what's it called again that just passed? It's called the Genius Act. It's called the Genius Act. And they're already moving toward doing what they want to do. So PayPal has made a groundbreaking announcement that it will revolutionize the way business accept payments. The company revealed yesterday that it will now allow businesses to accept payments in over 100 different types of cryptocurrencies, including popular options like Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now, this new service is called Pay with Crypto and will not only benefit businesses, but also provide a seamless experience for consumers. With Pay with Crypto, consumers will have the flexibility to use a wide range of cryptocurrencies to make their purchases. Additionally, they can utilize popular wallets like Coinbase, MetaMask to complete their transactions. And once a payment is made in crypto, the funds will automatically convert to fiat currency or PayPal's stablecoin, which is PYUSD. It's actually pegged as a US dollar, by the way. One of the key advantages of this new service is its ability to simplify cross-border commerce. And by enabling businesses to accept payments in various cryptocurrencies, PayPal aims to reduce transaction fees associated with international credit card processing. Now, in fact, PayPal is offering a competitive transaction rate of just 0.99% until July 31st. Okay, so the president of PayPal, CEO Alex Chriss, emphasized the benefits of Pay with Crypto in a recent post, and definitely keep your eye on that. Overall, PayPal's decision to enhance or embrace cryptocurrencies reflects a growing trend toward digital payment options. What does that mean for us? If I were a thinking woman at this very moment, I would think that if I did not have any cryptocurrency, I would absolutely look into it. Of course, I am not a money professional. That is not what I do. I just know for me, I have been using Binance. Of course, in this state, you can't use Binance. Don't know why. So I transferred everything over to Coinbase, and that's where I currently am. And I try my best to put something in it as often as I possibly can, because I have seen for some time what is currently happening. And I have friends, we all started at the same time. And of course, I always miss the boat because I'm a little nervous, and they're seeing massive returns already. I'm not saying that that's something that you should do. I just know that if that's the case, then a lot of us need to start paying attention to what's going on with cryptocurrency for sure. One of the other things, oh wow, some of you all's comments are being filtered to protect the community's experience. Hey, Marguerite, how are you? Hey, Jody, how are you? Welcome, welcome. Good to see everybody. Good to see everybody. Now, Google Pixel 6a catches fire due to battery issues. So if you have first of all, who has a Google phone? That's my joke for the day. Who has a Google phone? Who got one? Okay. I didn't even know if that was a thing still. I really didn't. Thank you, Susan. Thank you so much for the hearts. I appreciate it. But one actually caught fire. Google's ongoing battery issues with its smartphone seems to be persisting here, with reports surfacing of a Google Pixel 6a handset catching fire. Now, this incident was reported by a Reddit user named Footy Manager Addict, who woke up to a horrible smell and a loud noise caused by their plugged-in Pixel 6a catching fire. Now, the fire started actually just a couple of inches away from his head and spread to their bed sheets, damaging their freestanding air conditioning unit. Holy cow. The user also suffered throat complaints from inhaling the fumes. Photographic evidence of the damaged Pixel 6a showed that the phone was in a case at the time of the incident. Let me tell y'all something. It's okay. I think one of the things that I've learned is every once in a while, especially with older phones, I will touch the back of a phone to see. You want one though? Wait, not anymore. Right. Cutter said not anymore. No. Like, okay, so this phone is super, y'all. This is my one of when I started using iPhones, because I was always a Samsung user, and I said, oh, I'm gonna try an iPhone, whatever. And this one is warm now, but it's so old. I know it's time. You know what? That's a good question. It doesn't even indicate. But Google did offer to repair and credit them and refund options for the affected Pixel that was impacted. And this seems to be, according to this article, something that's quite frequent with this particular model. Yeah. Now, it is clear that Google's legacy smartphone battery issues continue to plague its devices. And the recent incident with the Pixel 6a highlights the importance of addressing these issues promptly to ensure user safety. So like this one, it's slightly warm. It's not even plugged up. She's in a case too, y'all. She's in a case, but I've had her for so long, and it's magnetic, and it holds onto a little wallet that I can carry around my waist, or just kind of hang like a crossover bag. I got it at Sam's. It's been 5 years I've had this thing. This fool. Last night, we learned that Spirit Airlines is getting ready to furlough about 240 pilots. And I laughed about it because it almost seems incredulous that you would do something like that. How you doing that out of Texas in the house? I don't understand. What's your question? I see your question. I don't know what that means. Anyway, okay. So a couple of things. Delta pilot arrested by federal agents, which sparked me to start talking about Spirit Airlines. And Spirit Airlines is also not only furloughing 240 pilots, They're also going to be demoting some of their pilots by about 140. It was 247 and that they're going to furlough, and 140 that they're going to demote. Now, I don't know about y'all, but if you demote me, where am I leaving? Where am I going? Am I staying with Spirit? I'm not staying with you. I'm out. Deuces. I'm gone. You say they don't want us to leave the U.S. It wouldn't surprise me if we start seeing stuff like that come down the pipe. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Delta Airlines pilot arrested on child charges after landing at San Francisco airport. Now, the Delta Airlines pilot was taken into custody by federal agents on these charges against children shortly after landing at the San Francisco International Airport Saturday, reportedly leaving both passengers and the plane's lead pilot stunned. 34-year-old Florida was arrested around 9:35 p.m. on 5 counts of oral copulation with a child under 10 years of age, according to the Department of Homeland Security. Had been under investigation since April by detectives with the Contra Costa County Office of the Sheriff Investigative Unit, located near northeast of San Francisco. And so they've been watching this dude. He was taken into custody and he's being held right now on $5 million bail. Wow. That's a lot of money. Let's talk about Chris Smalls, folks. Chris Smalls, let's talk about him. Why is it important? Because he is one of the folks that is still detained in Israel at this point, or is it Egypt? I don't want to give the wrong information. So while my page loads, because she's slow today, we're going to talk a little bit about what happened with the Handela right now. The Handela flotilla has still been detained, and all of the items that were aboard the ship to be given to the people of Gaza has either been thrown overboard or destroyed. Okay. They took those 21 individuals into custody and they stood trial yesterday. And they sent the majority of those folks home. Now, Chris Smalls, best known for leading the Amazon Labor Union, is part of the international Handela aid mission carrying food, baby formula, and medical supplies to Gaza. The Israeli Navy intercepted the ship in international waters at dawn. Most of us were watching it via YouTube. Some of us are probably that are watching this right now. You were actually watching it along with myself when we witnessed the military come aboard the ship and actually turn off the stream and hold them at gunpoint. So a couple of things. He was beaten, choked, and zip tied when taken into custody. And he's the only Black participant on board. So he did talk about it. Now, what we do know is that Smalls and at least 13 other detainees are still being held inside Given Prison currently. According to a post that Jacob Berber provided about an hour ago, Chris Smalls will be returning back to the United States either tomorrow or the next day. Those are the last things he said. He is in good spirits and that we should expect him back in the States before Friday. A detention review tribunal began, and Israel seeks to deport most of the activists. All have refused voluntary deportation and want a public hearing, which was clearly by design. They wanted to make sure that they did that. The other thing that they're doing is they are also all on a hunger strike, wanting to stand wanting to stand for the Palestinian people. So they are all on a hunger strike. So Small says he was physically assaulted by 7 guards on arrival. Female detainees cite lack of ventilation and sanitary items. All remaining prisoners have joined the hunger strike. As I indicated earlier, lawyers from Handela met Smalls yesterday and they report bruising, but no life-threatening injuries so far. U.S. consular officials requested access, no visit yet. Spain formally summoned Israel's charge d'affaires over 2 Spanish detainees and mentioned Smalls by name while calling for collective release. Why does this matter to you? International law. Now, activists argue the interception is piracy. Israel claims blockade enforcement. Now, they were in international waters. And in international waters, anybody can float on. Float on. And that's exactly what they were doing. They were, however, close to the shores of Gaza, but they were still in international waters, and they were illegally detained. Labor solidarity is another thing that you need to be concerned with. Major U.S. unions, including the SIEU and the Teamsters, actually issued statements demanding Small's release this morning. Escalating tactics is another issue to be concerned with. This is the second flotilla seized in 5 weeks. Each raid expands what human rights groups call creeping criminalization of humanitarian aid. Now, here's what could potentially happen next. Hey, Big T, how are you? Hey, Brenda, good to see you. So, tribunal ruling could come within 48 hours, which it's already happened, either extending detention or authorizing those deportations. And Chris Smalls has been authorized to be deported. High Court appeal. Adala says it will petition Israel's Supreme Court if deportation orders issue without full due process. See, that's the thing. Not just in the US of A, you have to have that. And then there's also this issue of growing pressure from not only the United States, but other countries. They're circulating a bipartisan letter here in the United States demanding immediate consular access and release. So Chris Smalls does remain in Israeli custody right now, but he is due to be released to get back into the United States. Bruised, but he's still with us. Bruised, but he's still with us as he and fellow Handela activists reject deportation and escalate a hunger strike. Their fate now hinges on this Israeli tribunal. And again, as I said earlier, so see this, I wrote this before I actually did further and followed Jacob, not followed, I've been following him, and he is to be released tomorrow to come home. So definitely good news to hear all around. Okay. Very, very good. One of the other things we talked about was the Sudan war. And we're going to dig a little bit deeper into that later on tonight. But what we do know is we all learned last night that the Sudanese war has some implications behind it, where gold is being smuggled out. And it's about the money. But we talk about that a lot here, don't we? Hey, Kayshawn, how are you? You back already? What y'all do, run? I see. That was fast. Okay. So we talked about Sudan last night and what's happening with that war there. We're also going to be covering some others, but we do know and understand now that a lot of what is occurring in Sudan, probably 99.9% of it is all about the money. Thank you so much for that, Auntie Star Jewelry. It's all about the money. It's about the gold. It's about, we need the gold because Dubai does not have its own resources like that. So where do you think it's coming from? And Sudan is rich in it. Like most of Africa is rich in all resources. Okay. So we're going to be covering that just a little. Hey, Sabush, how are you? Welcome, welcome. So we definitely wanted to talk about that. Now, one of the things that we are going to be covering is, number one, let me pause just a minute because we definitely need to talk about this too. We need to talk about, hang on just a second. Apologies, folks. This new flow, they want the money. They want the money, Kayshawn. This new flow that I'm having is kind of new for me because y'all know I like to talk, and I'm trying to get into this rhythm just a little bit, but I'm still gonna be myself. Pam Bondi files misconduct complaint. I don't know if you all have heard about that, but I think we need to talk about it just a little bit, and then let's also talk about this whole thing with Trump implicating Al Sharpton, Oprah Winfrey, and Beyonce Knowles Carter. of taking money to support Kamala Harris. We said it last night. I'll say it again. Do y'all hear the bees behind me? He don't want none. He really don't. It's a lot of things, right? But at the same token, Al Sharpton said, "I'm already gonna fight. I've already got my folks in gear, and we're suing. We are suing." So Pam Bondi files misconduct complaint against the judge who drew Trump's ire. Justice Department filed a misconduct complaint yesterday against U.S. District Court Chief Judge James Boasberg, a prominent Washington, D.C. judge who has drawn President Donald Trump's ire. U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi has said on X, what's the deal with X, y'all? What is the deal with there was a time in my life where everything didn't belong on social media. Wait a minute. Let's talk about before social media became a thing. Everything didn't belong on social media and in everybody else's ears, whether you had social media or not. Remember when before we would leave for church, my mother used to say, don't be telling folks all our business and what's going on in the house. Now, I grew up in a very healthy household. Let's just be clear. Okay. But it was certain things that you didn't talk about. You didn't talk about where your daddy worked. You didn't talk about what your mama did for a living. You didn't talk about how much money that your family was bringing in. No matter where you lived, it was just certain things that you didn't do. They spill all of the tea all the time. So Boasberg said in April that the Trump administration appeared to have acted in, quote, bad faith when it hurriedly assembled 3 deportation flights on March 15th at the same time that he was conducting emergency court proceedings to assess the legality of the effort. Now, today at my direction, the Justice Department filed a misconduct complaint against U.S. District Court Chief Judge James Boasberg for making improper public comments about President Trump and his administration, Bondi said, without specifying which comments she was referring to. Girl, I'm so sick of them. Yeah, I try to just give the news, but I'm so sick of them. Like, whatever y'all want to do that sounds like it's a hot mess, you doing. And it's so true. People have lost the art of keeping their business to themselves. It's ridiculous. It is absolutely, I do not understand. So you didn't even say what it was. You just running your mouth. I don't understand. It is just I don't understand, folks. I really don't. It is mind-boggling to me how these people are still doing the things that they're doing and they're getting away with it. Now let's talk about how U.S. workers are talking about how this immigration is causing labor shortages and a strain on everybody. But we pause. We knew that, didn't we? Right? We knew that. Okay. All right. So it's like going, and I talked about this on a post that I did. It's like going to a braider who knows her stuff, and you got thin, baby, I got thin edges and they're straight. They're bone straight. What do I look like braiding my hair with the same amount of weight of hair back here? So if I tell you as a braider that I cannot braid the front of your head the same way that I'm going to do the back, but you want everything uniform instead of a natural flow, here you come months later after I told you it wasn't going to work and you wanted me to do it anyway. And I said, okay, all right. It's the same as this. No, Kayshawn, what? So y'all, Kayshawn, for those of you all who are on the other platforms, Kayshawn70 on TikTok says, did you hear about how the farmers want nurses to pick blueberries? Black nurses? What? Okay. Hold on. Let's talk about that in just a minute because I'm going to look it up. You already know we got to talk about it. Okay. U.S. workers already told you, and not just U.S. workers, but companies told you, people told you this wasn't going to work. Now, Donald Trump's crackdown on immigration is piling pressure on U.S. factories, according to employees and union leaders, as veteran workers from overseas are forced to leave their jobs. You think? Now, as economists have warned, the administration's full-scale deportation ambitions could ultimately cost millions of jobs. Workers at two sites in Michigan and Kentucky told The Guardian that industrial giants are grappling with labor shortages. Yeah, they want children too. One guy said, and I saw this on Fox News, I couldn't believe I was watching it. He said, I just don't understand how we can't not let children work in the fields as like a summer job. Put your babies out there. Go ahead, put yours out there. How about that? We're not gonna exactly. They better figure it out. You okay? Because here we are. Here we are. The U.S. president has moved to strip more than 1 million immigrants of their legal status in the U.S. Of their legal status. Okay, bring your voice down. Bring your voice down. Including by shutting down the Cubans, Haitians, Nicaraguans, Venezuelans parole program. Okay, which allowed hundreds of thousands to work legally in the country. Cutter, I know it. So there's supposedly, I don't know how real this is, but I've heard this recording. The reason why I haven't talked about it because I can't validate the recording or not. But two senators are actually having a conversation, and it's not a recording. Somebody's reading the transcript. So let me be clear. We should bring back slavery, and the Black people aren't going to do it. Well, then we need to figure out who will. We need to do like a summer work program for kids or whatever. And I thought, what? So anyway, this program, the CHMV is what it's called. The CHMV parole program actually allowed hundreds of thousands of to work legally in the country. It has meanwhile ramped up immigration arrest operations with prospective daily quotas. Y'all listen to this, of 3,000 pickups a day. Now, these moves have piled pressure on industries across the U.S. economy. Farmers, restaurants. Was it Mitch McConnell? And it was another senator that we're having this conversation as well. Yeah, you're right. Food, hospitality, like I said, construction, transportation, and care sectors, which rely on large numbers of migrants to do that essential work. He's still here. I thought he retired too, girl. I did. I thought Mitch McConnell was done. He's still around with that heavy voice, looking like he talks like this with that po thing. Let me stop. All right. At a GE appliances plant in Louisville, Kentucky, more than 125 workers were abruptly forced out of their jobs in the spring due to programs canceled as part of the Trump administration's crackdown. You thought God had come for him? No, it was McCarthy. That's who it was. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. Thank you. So these folks are being forced out of their jobs. Honey, no, neither. Social junk. What in the heavens? So anyway, GE Appliances makes home appliances. We know that, just like we were saying here, including refrigerators, microwaves, and dishwashers in 3 different buildings on a couple of different shifts. Stewards reported that they lost production, so they weren't able to make all of the products they were supposed to make for that shift. You get confused. Ruby's Colorful World. That's hilarious. Oh my God, today. But we said this was going to happen. We saw it. And like Cutter was saying, you think, no, absolutely not. Because see, here's the thing. Let's go ahead and put some of this in perspective, because I always like to use my little reasoning brain, and maybe my little reasoning brain is wrong, but I definitely want to put this in perspective. So you have to pay people a livable wage. I'm not going to lie to you. I have worked in production before. Just like some of us have done things that we just don't like doing. I will DoorDash sometimes. Number one, because I be bored sometimes. I I got time to be bored, but I do. I DoorDash sometimes, or I will continue to still sell things on eBay because I got stuff on there. You know what I'm saying? Just like to have some little, change or whatever. But there are certain things that I chose not to ever do once I got to the realization that I was worth so much more. That's not to say that I'm not too good to do it, but let me tell you some things mama not gonna do. I'm not picking nobody's blueberries. I'm not picking nobody's cotton. I'm not picking anybody's tobacco leaves. I'm not harvesting rice. I'm not gonna do it. Me, I'm not. I can't speak for anybody else. I know what I'm not going to do. Again, push comes to shove. I have done gig work. I have done it all. It's certain things I just refuse to do any longer. I refuse to braid hair ever again, unless, of course, it's family or my grandchildren. I will teach, as I have said before, but I'm not doing it. Some things you just ought not to do anymore. Waiting tables, I may consider if I just had to, but to literally live like that, knowing the fight and the struggle that it took for me to get to a certain level in life, I'm not doing it. I refuse. There's certain things I will do and just certain things I'm not. But I ain't getting out. First of all, like the old folks used to say, get out the sun, you're black enough. Look, just know for me, I'm not. I cannot speak for everybody else. But you knew that this was coming because we told you. But y'all didn't believe that fat meat was greasy. And so a lot of you all who are being impacted by this, farmers and others who are being impacted by this, you voted against your own best interest because you thought, like we've heard the song say, that the leopard was not going to eat your face. And now here we are, we're falling right into August and we're into what quarter is this? Is this the beginning of quarter three? The beginning of quarter three is right around the corner. We're already in it. We're in Q3, y'all. And we told y'all, it didn't even take a year. We told y'all. You either Vic said to me either. I'm not doing it. We don't have to. They're the ones that didn't build skill over the years, period. See, that's the thing, Cutter. Thank you for that. So let's talk about that. One of the things that you brought up an excellent point. Let me be clear. Cutter said it best. We've built the skills over the years, so I wouldn't have to. Now let's be honest. Honey, I have washed cars. I was one of the people that washed cars back in the day. Girl, I would make $6 an hour. New mother. I worked at KFC. I was making $3.25 an hour. In 1990. I think they were getting ready. I think we were right on the edge of changing the minimum wage, but it was $3.20. I started out at $3.25. I have worked at cable companies and sales departments. I have, and the older that you get, you start to put on additional skill sets over the years. And no, absolutely not. Not only that, but the amount of years that I spent in college learning the things that I've learned and the skills that you pick up along the way, we've piled on the skills over the years, and we believe them about getting an education. Girl, Vix, let's talk about that real quick. We have to talk about that real quick. Here we go. So listen, let's talk about this really quick because I just literally got my student loan statement for one of my student loans. And I thought back to how much money that I put into getting all of this education. I got my associate's degree. And I went and I got my bachelor's degree. And then I went and I got my MBA. And then I went and I got my doctorate. And then I went back and I got all of these certifications. And now they got AI kicking my resume out. And I can't do nothing but smile because There ain't nothing else I can do. It's just like, and my edges are not that gray. You know, you still listen, you still paying student loans and hope some will be forgiven for me being an educator. Yes. I even thought about becoming an educator, but you know what? My nerves bad. I could. So shout out to anybody that can be in education, but no, baby. Now I have taught, I've been an adjunct before. But at the end of the day, let me tell y'all something. These people out here crazy, no matter who you educate. So you've built up these skills, and they want to try to find a way to put folks back in the fields. And I need that to make sense, because we told you all what was going to happen if this occurred, rather than, follow me, and I did. So Miss Phyllis, let's talk about that. So yes, I have hired someone to actually help me redo my resume. I have a dual resume officially now. I have a resume where it's truncated and all of that. You know what I mean? I did everything everybody said for me to do. Guess what else I took off of there? If it looked like I was over 50, I took it off of there. Everything. So it can be a challenge. And then, you know, you've had those interviews. Let's talk about this real quick, and then we're going to go back to this. You go and you have those interviews, and then you show up with this all-American name, and then they see you. That's happened to me. Right now, 300,000 African-American or Black women in this country have been let go of work since March of 2025 of this year. And we're talking about professional women. We're not talking about women. And I'm not saying everybody's not a professional, but when I'm saying in specific sectors, they are, hey, Miss Lady J, they lied about the open jobs. You better know. And yeah, they are age discriminating for sure. Yes, 300,000. Let's have a whole conversation about 300,000 Black women have lost their jobs since March of this year. Now, that's according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. But this was happening well before. Hey, Goober Fruit, how are you? Hey, Philip Brandon. So I was laid off 3 years ago from my corporate position. But that was around the same time that, and I've had this conversation before, that was around the same time that they had just released, like, hey, you don't really have to do DEI. I was the director of DEI for North America. Right. And you can't, they don't want you to stay at a couple things. One, back in the day, when I first started in project management, one of the things that I knew I was doing when I was getting hired in project management was I was being hired. You have a BA and 2 masters, you speak 7 languages from UC Berkeley and Stanford and San Francisco. And how's that job search going, Kayshawn? Because here's something else too that they don't talk about. Black women in this country, we're the most highly educated. Johnny K, this is what you're doing at 53. Top Google engineers are also unemployed, so the issue is not a proper resume. See, and I didn't think it was. I think there's this ATS thing and whatever, and it's going through. What needs to happen is they need to move AI out the way and let human beings go back to looking at resumes. Honestly, this, you're good. Because a lot of us are still having, that's what caused me to kind of say, you know what, let me focus on Brownstone Worldwide a little bit more, because clearly this is not getting any better for me and a lot of other sisters out here. And when you get the interview, Lord have mercy, don't show up looking Black. All of a sudden the position is filled. Yeah. So you're a BA master's, former educator, now streamer and content creator. You could not find a job. See, Johnny K, that's what I'm saying. Because how AI choose, but not to the interview. Yeah. And not do the interview. Yeah. How do you choose that? You have less education, bachelor's and master's, you're 65 and have had no issues with finding work. Well, honey, I guess maybe I'm in an oversaturated market. Maybe that's what it is. You see, I knew we was going to go down this rabbit hole, but we need to still have this conversation. And that's not less education, honey. You said a master's degree. You got the master's some stuff to get that, because you still got to do your what do they call that thing? I just blanked out. You still got to do your capstone. Search for security, not opportunity. It has become the search for security. Actually, I think what's happening, and we're seeing it in real time, and I have said this before, do you know we've had the Industrial Revolution, we've had Reconstruction, we've had all of those things happen. What we are witnessing right now is the digital revolution. We're watching it in real time, and we're a part of it. The key that we should be looking at, even in all that we're doing, is in living and experiencing, we're literally experiencing the revolution of media. We're experiencing the revolution of how you will consume content. I can't tell you when was the last time the TV's in my house been on. Every room except that front room right there has a television in it. Literally. In my back office, there's two. There's one right here, so I can see what's happening with the news in real time. There's one of I can't tell you. It's just a black box now, because I'm constantly consuming content in other ways, and it's on the go. I can take my phone with me wherever I go. And not only that, I got more than one. Like, what are we doing? But we're constantly consuming media differently. We're entertained differently. We have different apps and things that are streaming. Most of us are not getting our news the same way that we used to, right? And a lot of us really aren't feeling comfortable with it. And we are on an overload. Absolutely. Like, I used to do breaking news. I ain't doing breaking news no more. Y'all, somebody else will give it to you. I'm going to give you the news that we need to see on a regular basis, like these conversations where GE Appliances and others are literally having to figure out ways to cover what removing these people have done. And if you're working at GE, what does that tell you? You can't be illegal. You got a working permit. So what we're seeing in real time is a shift in how even us as professional folks, degreed folks, no matter what race you are, but really, and honestly, I can only speak from my own Black experience. I gave up. I was like, I'm not gonna keep doing this. What am I doing? What's happening? I gotta figure something else out, because this ain't it. What did he do now? Right. Breaking news should be called, what did he do now? You know what I'm saying? Like, for real. So I was like, you know what? Let me just go ahead and just focus that. Yeah, you have to. I had to, Philip Brandon. I had to, because I was literally. And so, like, my daughter called me the other day. She said, "Ma, send me your resume." Cool. I sent it to her. I was like, "What you need my resume for? You should already have it." She's like, "No, I'm talking to this recruiter, and I told him, the issue." Okay, cool. So I sent it. I'm bothered. Because at this point, I've moved on. I've figured out other ways, because I got to keep my house. I got to, make sure that things are paid for. I got to make sure my team is paid when it's time for folks to be paid, because then they're looking upside my head, things like that. And so now you just pivot. You don't have any other choice. Fake jobs and stress levels are high. Yes, let's talk about the fake jobs. I'm so glad we're having this conversation. So LinkedIn, there was somebody that did an article. It was a gentleman who had been laid off for 3 months. And I thought, oh, poor little tink. Wait till you in the years. Then come holler at me. Deported, and his company, Sun Oil, sent him here. You're kidding me. That's all it is. So ghost jobs are for data collection. I hate to hear that about Sun Oil. But it doesn't surprise me. I'll be so glad when this is over with, y'all. I won't know what to do. I might just lay in the floor and pretend like I'm making ice angels, snow angels. That's how happy I'm gonna be. But I don't know if that's the answer, though. I'm a Nurse Jackie. I don't know. Maybe it's time to exit the U.S. en masse. Couple things. So I was looking at this article on LinkedIn, and I actually shared it on my profile because it was so good. And he talked about how disgusted he was with major corporations and recruiters that were posting fake jobs in the middle of people literally desperately seeking work. Now, this is a far cry from what we remember back during COVID, when people were quiet quitting. And we knew that this day was going to come when the option to go anywhere you want was going to be. Oh, I wish I would take an interview with Telegraph. Nope, not doing it. I don't halfway trust Telegraph. His brother, who does kidney, liver, spleen transplants, is afraid for the rest of his family born here. Oh my goodness, Angela. I did, Miss Phyllis. I have started my own business. The name of my company is Brownstone Worldwide. You can go and check out the website. Brownstone, this is a great time for a commercial break. BrownstoneWorldwide.com, Cityscape Radio, and Brownstone Living Magazine. Actually, Brownstone Living Magazine actually just dropped. It just dropped. On the cover is Terrence Young, urban jazz guitarist. Y'all, I get to see the brother live next month. I'm so excited. So he's going to be here in Georgia. And I think he's a part of like a reggae show, like a tour or something. But yeah, but I started my own media company. I did. News and information. If you are in this particular broadcast, you are a people, or you're a part of the people of the neighborhood, and we call each other neighbors here. So yes, I did. And I'm also a part of another group called the Trifecta Media Group. Myself and several other media professionals got together and created this media group. And we're a group of journalists and news broadcasters, which I am a former news broadcaster. That's what we do. And I was a radio DJ. So I got bitten by the bug early. So yeah, I did. I started my own company because I can't wait on y'all, because the mortgage company's not waiting. Thank God I own my own car. I wish I would go get another one right now. If some grocery, listen, baby boy getting ready to start college. So yeah, the labor market is how the government determines how many jobs are out there. They also lie about the numbers. You know they do. You know they do. You know they do. Water. Yeah. So there's that. But yeah, it's disgusting how they are using their data mining. I 100% agree with that. And they're also pulling that data. Let me explain something to you. Yeah, water bills are insane. That's why they post ghost jobs. It makes a company look healthy, but it also keeps those folks, it keeps them at a level. So when they report to their senior leadership, it looks like the company is doing well, and they're really not. Because if you're not hiring anybody, then what's going on? Number one, it could be one of two things. One, business is slow, or two, people don't like you very much because you suck as an employer. Hey, Laverne Holiday, how are you? Thank you for that, Black Lois Lane. You are absolutely correct for that information. It's disgusting to me. And that's what he was saying. And he felt like he needed to say it out loud. He didn't want anybody to feel sorry for him. Yeah, no growth. You're not growing. Not at all. Thank you, Angela. Thank you for that. And I forgot how we ended up here. Yes, because we were talking about this crackdown on immigrants who are here with work visas, who are being deported and a part of parole programs from Haiti, Nicaragua, Venezuela, and Cuba. And he's revoked like hundreds of thousands of their work visas. Like, I need this to make sense, because then never mind. I'm not even going to ask that question, because I already know the answer, because we already know the mindset of this administration at this point. But we're not going to put anything in people's mouths. You know how that is. All right, let's talk briefly about what we discussed last night. Now, last night during the night shift, we discussed two new senators. We talked about Raphael Warnock, and we also talked about John Ossoff. Those two senators, we learned what PACs, what super PACs, or AIPAC money did they take, including not only AIPAC, but we also learned that there were other pro-Israel PACs that they also took as well. You got through 3 rounds of interviews, a project, only to be told that they're doing a strategic pivot. I bet they are, away from the position as a whole. Man, listen, I'm so sick of hearing that. And so when my daughter, real quick, when my daughter when my daughter reached back out, she was like, he says that you should do this with your resume and take out this because the ATS system is kicking it out. And I was like, baby, my daughter's name is Tamika. I said, Tamika, I don't even care. Let it do what it's gonna do. I'm emotionally bereft at this point of trying to, because a couple things that happen. You question, do you have the skill set? That's number one. Can I really do what I said I could do? Did I really do all of this after all of these years? I've been working since I was 16 years old. I'm 54. I've been in corporate so long that I can remember when cell phones, I used to work for Ericsson. I was a part of a group of folks that created and helped to program the Glinair switch, which helps ping the MPX and NXX numbers on your phone. That's how long I've been working. And I stopped and I had to question whether or not I knew what the hell I was doing. And I ended up in HR. Some HR departments are doing too much. The issue is there's no mid-level in the market anymore. It's either entry or senior. Yeah. And I ended up in senior leadership. And I thought, oh, okay. You make me the director. I get the fat raise. You tell me what I'm supposed to do. And then y'all get the it's okay to, we're not focused on DEI anymore. Da 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 da. 6 months later, I'm gone. You know what? First of all, who is JB B7? That's hilarious. That's hilarious. The job market follows society. Middle class is also, it is disappearing. They focused you on up out of it. They Philip, didn't they? I was like, what happened? Now I got a nice little severance package now, mind you, but still I was like, so I kind of rolled it out for a little bit. And then I started looking about 6 months in. And along the way, I was like, nah, we're not getting ready to do this. And so I just focused on Brownstone Worldwide. I did. I was like, no, I'm good. I'm good. So while we're even having these conversations about what's happening with documented immigrants with visas and undocumented immigrants, we still need to have these conversations about what's happening to Americans in this country and as professionals. And I get it. I understand, they want some. That might be what got me put out. I doubt it was, because I'm not a yes person. I'm not that. And they knew this. And this was an Italian company. Oh, yeah. Multi-billion-dollar. Yep. And right now, as I'm sitting here, I got these alerts coming up. You could be a client. Man, indeed, if you don't carry on, go somewhere, because I just watch them, and I've learned to just, a couple of things that I've learned is, number one, ultimately in the end, we are all okay. We're going to be okay. What we have to learn how to do is pay attention to what is happening. A couple of things that have happened. Number one, I'm more resilient than I gave myself credit for. Listen to me, because this ain't just about me. I'm more resilient than I thought I was. I don't have listen, I said that there's certain things I'm not going to do. I'm not braiding no hair. It's not happening. I have thought about it. I have driven past some braid salons that said that they're looking for braiders. And I've been braiding for how long? And know all these techniques? I can't do it no more. Y'all not finna stress me out. But I will DoorDash. I will even go wait a table. Because see, I know, let's end with this, okay? And then we're going to get into Ossoff and Warnock really quick. Let's do that first. So we talked about that. If you want more information, come back and join us this evening for the late shift, because the night shift, because what we talk about are the senators and the Congress people who took what super PAC or what money did they take, and what companies are behind those PACs. These are important when you are making decisions on who you're going to vote for in the midterms, because we all voting in the midterms, ain't we? Oh, okay. I was just checking. I was just trying to make sure, because I don't want nobody watching me walk away and eat macaroni and cheese and stuff. And I didn't do my homework, please. 8:30-ish. 8:30-ish. I came on last night at 9. I said I was gonna be on for an hour. Y'all, we was there for 2 hours. 2 hours last night. I was like, I know it. Dang it. Oh man, I'm here for 2 hours. And last week, I kind of almost lost my voice. So I had to take a week off, and we got to keep up. We got to keep up with what's going on. Eastern Standard, Ruby's Colorful World. Yes. So we'll be back this evening. We're going to talk about that and any news updates. I would encourage you to come back and join us. Bring somebody with you. Let people know that we're here in that Brownstone Worldwide. Y'all, that magazine cover. First of all, I'm single as a dollar bill. So when I see a good looking man, I'll be like, ooh, he sure look good on that cover. Good God Almighty. That's how it was when I saw the cover. And I had to approve the cover. Do you know how cool it is to say that you're the editor-in-chief of this? Or to say that you are a part of a media association that you created? So I will say this. We are more resilient than we're giving ourselves credit for. And sometimes things happen so that you can follow what you were meant to do anyway. I received that, Kayshawn. I received that. Yes. Even though Essence Magazine was started by a group of Black men, she was brought in as the editor-in-chief. Yeah. So what I have recently found out is that I am part of the 0.01% of Black women that own a media company. So I'm going to sit here at this dining room table, and we're going to go out here and make deals, and we're going to cut commercials. We cut commercials too, right? So and cut commercials, and we're going to do brand deals and all the things that we're doing right now. We're going to continue to do that. We're going to continue to offer up Brownstone Living Magazine. We're actually coming up on our 3rd anniversary, y'all. Listen, in 3 months, 3 years, 3rd anniversary. Boy, if y'all saw that first cover, you would be like, But now, and I'm always the cover for December. So Big Mama got to get in the gym because she got to be cute for this. But last year's cover was nice. It was super nice because the photo shoot will happen around my birthday in October. So we're prepared. And I'm super excited. Thank you so much for that. Yeah, I put my heart and soul, and you saw how people react to me. Yeah, so it's been a labor of love. If you want to check it out, I would encourage you to go to my Stand store, or you can go over to brownstoneworldwide.com. Thank you so much, Angela. I received that in my old age. I really do, because baby, sometimes minnow and paws. Whew, my God, today. So yeah, go ahead and check out brownstoneworldwide.com. Brownstone Living Magazine as well is over there. And Cityscape Radio. We're going through some programming right now, and we're going to be turning back on the app for Cityscape Radio in about 2 weeks. Is it 2 weeks? I gotta wait. So we've had an app for it, and then I had it turned off because I wanted to add video. But then once it's available, I'll come in and I'll say, y'all, it's available. Y'all go to your app store and go and get it. Yeah. So I'm excited about that. It's going to be a lot of fun to just kind of go through. A couple of things that are happening before I wrap, because I got about 4 minutes and then I have to jump on at 1 o'clock. So I already know I'm going to be late. Is this. Number one, come back and hang out with us. We love to have fun in here. We like to respect each other, honey. Sometimes we have MAGA folks in here that set me off, and then they end up staying if I don't kick them out. Because we're here to get facts and information and to talk about what's really happening in our neighborhood, which is the world, not just the US of A, right? So we lovingly call each other neighbors in here. Some folks we've never met. I've not physically met most of you. But the one thing that I'll say is that I'm on watch, and so is my neighbor. And how do we do that? By telling the truth that is necessary, so we're making better decisions when it comes to this upcoming midterm election, so we can start turning some things around. Okay? Remember this. That is correct, Vix. No, Kayshawn is not your government name. I know it. I think we've talked about this before, but listen, here's what I want to end with for real. come back, come hang out with us so we can find out who the next 2 senators are. We're going to continue to go through this list. I don't care if it takes us till 2026. We need to make some headway, and we need to start making some things happen, and we need to find out who's taking money so we know who's really got our best interest at heart, or who's working for the corporations. It's your right to know, because we steal the people. We steal the people. That's it. Okay. So remember, I will end with this 3 things that I always like to tell every single person that comes into this live. Before we end every live, I always say, 1, love your life. It is the only one that you have. 2, live your life to the fullest and embrace everything that is your life, because you only get one you might as well enjoy it. And lastly, breathe through every single moment. Y'all, we still the people. I will see you all later on this evening, Eastern Standard Time, 8:30-ish. We'll see you around.
Welcome to Brownstone Worldwide. Welcome to Brownstone Worldwide. Tips, topics, and talk, we got it all. Brownstone Boozy and Breakfast with Vernell. Here to entertain, and we will help you live well. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you are welcome in the essence. This broadcast, Brownstone, the light is contagious. But you need go on and receive it for yourself. Just open it, exuberant, evolution, excited. We standing on the foundation of expression. You might have seen, you might have been, or you could have gravitated. Our foundation, we want to create a space for all to collaborate and be liberated from eventually all over the globe. And we are extending a hand to those who are an extension from maybe platforms, dig into another stratosphere. Welcome to Brownstone Worldwide. Welcome to Brownstone Worldwide. Tips, topics, and talk, we got it all. Brownstone Boozy and Breakfast with Vernell. Here to entertain, and we will help you live well. And that is MSG, the message in the message. I can OD on my execution of excellency. And this as a man right now, and things aren't created, but see true.